Flight boss, bitch. For sure. Listen to the mind of an Terry Smooth. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And this video right here is about consciousness versus common sense. I repeat, consciousness versus common sense. Now, why am I making this video? Because we're starting to see like a little trend going. It's like a little trend that's starting to happen, where you got just any old body coming up, either making videos or something like that, and it's basically just common sense, but it is being labeled as consciousness. So I'm here to separate the rock rollers from the poodles. You know what I'm saying? The pit bulls from the poodles, the hawks from the little lily pads, and the ducks in the motherfucking water. Because we need there is a thin line. You see what I'm saying? And I understand that consciousness right now is just like a wave that everyone want to ride. So everyone have their own way of riding that wave. And once everybody jump into themselves, everybody got a sense of common sense, because everybody got senses that's in common. You see what I'm saying? You got your eyeballs, you got your ears, you got your nose, you got the taste buds, you got your spiritual nature. So everybody got something that's similar in common as far as natures go. You see what I'm saying? So everybody got common sense. You see what I'm saying? Because we all got senses in common, because we all created a vessel within the same realm of reality. But goddamn it, we need to understand what consciousness is and not conflate the two. Because there's a yin and yang to everything. And a lot of times where we get people who got common sense, they only doing half of the battle. They only experience the yin of something. Now you in the realm where receiving, responding, that word, R-E, is first. So how you react and respond to things is actually first. Reaction is first. That's why the moon is most important here. So you need to know a lot of y'all are just reacting to things based upon experience, but then y'all stop there. And then when you talk about consciousness, everything has a yin and yang to it. So once you receive, you have to do an actual external event also. You know what I'm saying? Once you receive, you have to release, so you can do that recycle system. Otherwise, you're just holding a bunch of baggage in and being held down spiritually and physically. But what I'm trying to explain to you is, when it comes to consciousness, first you receive, aka the experience. Then you add on, aka based upon your own idea and imagination. So consciousness is a development. So we know when you're dealing with the word C-O-N, con, anytime you're dealing with constellations, a con man, you're dealing with trickery and illusion. So all spirits lie to themselves. Your ability to believe, your belief, your power to believe in yourself, believe your imagination. Now we're in a dream world, so it's always going to be an illusion. But your ability to shape it and form it the way you see fit, that's your ability to create your quote unquote terms, heaven or hell. But besides that, I'm talking 4th, 5th, and 6th dimensional right now. I don't want to get into y'all 3rd dimensional shit right now. So as far as that, that's explaining that. So when you create a lie or an imagination or a concept or a rationality or air or an earth element to whatever your spirit is trying to create out of your fire and water that you have went into as a vessel to experience that realm of reality that you are in, for the most part, your power of believing that is that power to shape that, and it'll appear to be solid if you keep paying that attention, aka your dreams will come true. So a lot of y'all dreams don't even be y'all's, based upon y'all religions and how y'all was raised and a location and shit like that. But for the most part, let's separate this shit, right? Now, reason why y'all do half of the battle is because y'all receive. So aka you get consciously aware of something, you experience something. So you may experience something that wasn't right or something that was right? And then instead of you adding on to it, you actually jump back into your religious natures and act like it's something that you need to fight against, which you need to understand whatever you're looking at is the illusion. The energy signature behind it is something that all of our spirits is doing. All of our spirits is gravitating towards. So anywhere you see something, spirits love power. Because power is a sense of source, the power of the P. So a sense of source always going to have a parameter, aka a specific location where that power is being drawn from. So spirits is always going towards that. So I don't give a fuck what you want to tie, because you're lost in the light and what you think the illusion appeared to be, just because it may be relative to you or not. So it may be right or wrong for you or not. But for the most part, as a look in the 3rd dimensional realm, wherever you see the most power at, the most source, where the most source is at, the most power is at. And then look at the areas that's lacking the most power. where you may need to do some type of justifications or some type of extra work to actually gain some power. That's letting you know, third dimensional wise, where spirits is traveling and what spirits is actually trying to do in the first place. So you need to understand that. Now, when we talk about consciousness and when we talk about common sense, right? Now, here's the thing, right? Now, it is not everybody could be consciously aware of money. So when you say, for the most part, you're looking at money, right? Now, everybody are consciously aware of money. Now, here's the thing. It's common sense that money has a goddamn owner. You see what I'm saying? Because what organization do you know is going to be organized without an organizer? Now, that's the energy signature behind it. Now, regardless of the illusion and the lights that y'all may be lost in, aka what kind of motherfucking organization it is, or how it's being organized, hey, that's just a few spirits jumping into bodies, aka stars, planned out that constellation the way they see the idea. But the energy signature behind it is what all of our spirits is doing anyway. So if you just got a weak ass spirit and you just highly upset and frustrated that you can't obtain these elements the same way other spirits can't, you may need to redirect where your energy is going and get out of religious aspects. You see what I'm saying? Because religious aspects is just you giving that same energy to a demon that's being able to take that power and do what the fuck they want to do with it. Or you may just be ruled under the Galactic Federation of Light and a group of those beings based upon what state of being you're in, aka what state that your being is in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension, aka what realm, what space, what state, what city you live in, how those laws work, what group of beings do that shit, and how the government work there. Same way I got different government systems and policies down here. Same way in the Galactic Federation of Light, you got different police and foundations and governmental laws and things of that nature. So keep that in mind. So be wary even when y'all want to be correlating to the things like the law of Ma'at, the lie of Ma'at. Everything is a lie. You need to understand this, that is just the laws under, that's somebody who work in the Galactic Federation of Light that's trying to make y'all gear to some laws here. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about you being deserted in an area, say you're not around an ocean current, aka a star, a body of water that's not spinning, or you're not in an area that doesn't have a lot of spirits that's rotating that current. You're going to be in an area that's way relaxed and subtle, like Piscean energy. So therefore, this is like deserted lands in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension. You got to swim far out before you go back to another realm, go to another realm of reality, aka more chakras. So you're still in waters, you're just in subtle waters that's not in no current. So you're deserted, and you might not have no shelter, might not have no spaceship or anything of that nature. And when you're traveling in areas like that, you need to understand that there is no way to develop any consciousness unless it's on your own. Only being consciously aware of your goddamn self. And being consciously aware of your goddamn self, when you go back into a realm of reality, right, you still have to relate that to others. So you still have to express that because you're still receiving. So this is what I mean by consciousness. And when we talk about money, now it is motherfucking common sense that anything that's dealing with an organization has to be organized. And for it don't run into chaos, it needs an organizer or even a few organizers. So here's what you need to understand, right? This is just what our spirit's doing. And if you in a deserted land, then you just going to be spiritually lost and not know what to actually do. You see what I'm saying? Until you go back into a constellation and understand that your spirit is this really in a fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension. When you in a deserted land, your spirit is going to try to force you to travel into a space of power, aka just another constellation or another grouping of spirits and things of that nature, because you're going to lack of power and a lack of sense of moral or purpose. So even in a deserted land, your purpose is to find power in some way, shape, or form. So your spirit is trying to let you know what you're actually doing. So don't get lost in the physical. You see what I'm saying? Now, when we talking about now, it is common sense that money has a motherfucking owner. So it is not consciousness to come up with ways that we think we need to go against that system. You see what I'm saying? And that goes into many different things also. Same way when we talk about jobs, right? Now, it is common sense that somebody is organizing the way that organization is organized. You see what I'm saying? But it is not consciousness to try to come up with ways on how to destroy that. Like I said, you receive the experience of seeing that something's going on. There's a system. There's something going on. Now, Consciousness is your ability to add on to that system. Add your own perception to it. You see what I'm saying? Not destroy it. Add your own perception to it. AKA change and reshape something that is shapeless and formless. Now, just because another spirit is shaping and forming that energy the way they see fit, because they might be spiritually vibing high in all realms harder than you, don't be a spiritual hater. See, this is what's actually going on in this world. You just got a bunch of spiritual haters. So you got words like elite. You got words like demons. You got words like Satans. You got word like opposers, oppressors. You got words like they. You got words like I can't. You need to understand that all that shit is a fucking illusion. Because you are spiritually weak. So, and then you a spiritual hater on top of that. You hating on other motherfucking spiritual vibrations. These motherfuckers elites is doing the same thing you can do. Now, it's not their fault that they got family members and bloodlines and bloodstreams and shapes and forms that they group of family soul groups and spirits and oversouls could jump into. So they've been doing this in many realms of realities for ages. So they more experienced than you. You know what I'm saying? But you got to stop there. The moment you start getting into these words again, they, I can't, oppressed, Satan, demonic. Once you start getting in those vibrations again, you're lost. And you giving your spirit away to something that taught you those words. That's taking that energy and doing what they want with it. And a lot of times the spirits that you casting stones on, calling them elites and shit like that, these are the same spirits that gave you these words. I can't, and they, elite, base it and shit like that. Just for you to keep giving power to those signatures. You see what I'm saying? Now, these are just energies we all can have. But they put their signature on it, aka called it elite, called it this. Where do you think you learned that from? You learned it from the same people you calling them. So they put their signature on that energy, right? All y'all pay attention to it, give y'all power to it, because y'all scared of it. Y'all into religion, y'all into indoctrinations and shit. So y'all give all y'all power to it, so boom. Now they're the owners of that intellectual property, because they signed the signature of that energy. So when y'all receive that energy, y'all just see the signature of it. The signs and the signature. What it's called. The elites. The demonic. The Satans. Y'all call it the God and all that shit. So the Jesus. Y'all done gave it all that. The law, the government, policy, police. Y'all done gave it all y'all paid attention to it. And y'all gave it all y'all chakra system. AKA y'all imaginations and vibrations. AKA emotions and thoughts. Y'all gave it all y'all frequency vibrations. Now that energy took all y'all spirit power. Y'all frequency vibration created all them shapes and forms, aka non-physical to physical energy, right? And now y'all done gave all that energy, which is a force, to that signature that's back to supported by energy that you could have used your goddamn self. But whoever signed that signature, aka all them titles, since they're the owners of that intellectual property, they're going to receive all the benefits from it, all the accumulations from it, all the mermaids from it, they're going to receive all that shit from it. And 9 times out of 10, these are the people who ruling y'all television, who program y'all channels. So when y'all channel in, y'all computers, y'all phones, y'all TV, y'all get programmed with their ideas, with their imagination. And they shaped and formed the realm of reality to how they see fit. So y'all live in their realm, like, basically. You see what I'm saying? And that's how simple it is. So you'll get a motherfucker who's utilizing a bunch of common sense, aka they're just consciously aware of this going on. And then now they want to develop a weak ass consciousness, aka a religious, they learned this from a religious ass spirit, that they need to fight that system. Not being unaware that that's just the system, period. That's not they system. See, they taught you that word they. That's the system, period. Now, what your weak ass spirit need to do is get some spiritual strength, learn about hard work. I don't care how the illusion may look like down here, whether you got to get a job or whether you got a dream or some type of creativity that you need to work hard on, or some type of concept or some scientific direction that you want everybody to pay attention to. You see what I'm saying? You need to take your weak ass spirit and actually work hard on these things so you can start to go through ups and downs, spiritual roller coasters, trial and tribulation, so you can receive the information that you need to receive, so you can know what to do and what not to do, what to attach to and what not to attach to, so the next vehicle that you go into could be that much more sufficient for this astral travel that you're experiencing, aka the life that you're experiencing at that current time, that current flow, and that currency that you're trying to develop, aka we're in a chakra wave. You see what I'm saying? Stars are water. So what you need to understand is, as far as you developing a better vessel on a lighter scale, that could just be a better thought, then it'll come into a better concept, then it'll manifest into a better situation, then it'll manifest into a better living condition, then it'll manifest into a better materials and people, places, and things that's in it, all the way to when it's time to die, you end up spiritually going into a better, being born again into a better life. A better vehicle to go into to experience the things that your state of being was trying to manifest in whatever realm of reality you was in. So you need to understand this, right? As consciousness, it is a real form of consciousness is being consciously aware, aka doing the receiving, and then putting in your endpoint, putting in your input, aka you always need an input into a socket. You can't just have the socket. Then you want to put your input in places where there ain't no socket. That's people who using common sense, but they're trying to utilize it as a form of consciousness. So it's common sense, but they're trying to label it as consciousness, and they're trying to be seen as conscious people, but it's just backed and supported by a bunch of goddamn common sense that goddamn even Donald Trump got. You see what I'm saying? So we need the motherfucker understand and overstand that when we're talking about common sense, when we're talking about in consciousness, there's a thin line between the two. Same way, shout out to Martin Lawrence and the female and that woman, I forgot her name, that made an excellent ass movie. There's a thin line between love and hate. Oh, dude. And let's not even get into that shit, but look, for the most part, it's a thin line between consciousness and common sense, and you need to know that. And anytime you utilizing consciousness, you need to know that that's just half of the battle, being consciously aware of something. Now you need to take your ability to create consciousness, take your weak ass spirit and create a chakra, aka a vibe or a thought, aka a frequency or a vibration, aka an energetic force, and your ass need to add an endpoint onto that energy so your ass can have a signature that you can sign, and your ass can reap some benefits when that karma come back around. Otherwise, the energy that you're creating, the word they or oppressor or opposing, aka you're just creating the energy signature in the 4th, 5th, or 6th dimension of going against a wave. I don't care how it looks in the 3rd dimension that you think whatever you're doing is a good thing. In the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, your spirit is just playing out the energy signature of going against a wave that you don't necessarily have to go against. That wave ain't got shit to do with you. It's your weak ass conscious ideas about what you're coming up with about what this wave is doing. So instead of you going with the flow and creating a spaceship that you can go with the flow effectively, your ass is creating a weak ass spaceship to create a dam for that wave to create pressure and friction. So everything you're going to manifest is trial and tribulation. Whether the experiences that you're manifesting, whether you think it's a good cause or not, is putting you through some form of trial and tribulation. It's putting you through some form of distress. It's putting you through some form of thinking you need to fight something and create an imaginary enemy where there isn't none. So you might need to redirect your game plan in this motherfucker, because you are tarnishing and making your spirit untransparent. And if your spirit become too much light on it, it's going to be seen, and it's not going to be able to be see-through and be transparent and be free. It's going to be seen and become solid, aka start to run into asteroids and shit. And you don't want your spirit thinking it's physical, and that's what a lot of y'all motherfuckers is doing. So in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, y'all get spiritually washed, y'all get spiritually hurt. Anything embarrass y'all, anything make y'all vulnerable. Y'all get spiritually damaged so quick and fast, and your spirit ain't supposed to be getting damaged like your fucking body. What the fuck is wrong with you? See what I'm saying? Stop. Even if you don't think your spirit is physical, a lot of y'all use words to make y'all to subconsciously psych your brain up into thinking your spirit is physical. So you end up having dreams like your spirit is physical, and you end up talking like your spirit is physical, and then you end up experiencing getting spiritually damned every goddamn day, getting your goddamn feelings hurt. every goddamn day for shit that ain't got no business hurting your goddamn feelings. Shit that should be letting fly. If it don't apply, let fly. A lot of y'all niggas can't even do that shit because of the words that y'all use. God damn it, Flight Boss, bitch. I love y'all in this motherfucker. But there's a thin line between consciousness and common sense. Which one is you?